It's just me. I got a little bit carried away because I got the microfogger to work. My bad, I was just a little bit impatient. It just wasn't fully charged. But look at these shafts of light you get with it. Super cool.
God rays. Look at that, guys. All because of the microfogger.
That did not work like I planned it to. Oh, before I forget, I'm gonna be doing a meetup in Toronto at the Canon Creator Lab on August 22nd. I think it's at 6:30 p.m. I'll link it down below. I would love to see all of you guys there, all 720. Maybe not all 720,000, but a lot of you would be, it would be nice to see a lot of you there. I'm like addicted to this thing. I don't know why I keep coughing. It doesn't actually smell like anything, but it just makes me cough anyways. Okay, let's talk about color grading because I love color grading. I think you guys like color grading too. And more specifically, let's talk about a new mistake that we all make from time to time. I noticed myself doing this just a couple months ago. I had my preset and then I kept tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. And all of a sudden I had this color grade that looked nothing like I started with and it had gone way too far. And I didn't even notice. LUTs are a really, really great way to start. I use LUTs in every single video of mine. You can even get the exact same LUTs that I use. I think I'm right now using mostly the Cinema LUT from the Cine LUTs 2.0 pack. That's kind of my go-to LUT right now. But this is what happens with a lot of people with LUTs or presets, especially if you're filming in log. You shoot your stuff, you put it on your computer and you bring it into your editing program and then you slap on a LUT and then you start tweaking it to the point where the colors look vibrant or kind of like saturated enough. But the problem is at that point, it's just way too strong. That LUT is way too strong on your footage and you're most likely looking like an Oompa Loompa at this point, which I've warned you guys a few times about. But yeah, it still happens quite a bit. And the fix here is actually really, really simple, but it's something that a lot of people miss. And that's to add saturation before you use a LUT or before you put on your preset. Especially if you're filming in log. Log is very, very desaturated. There's like no saturation at all. And there's also not very much contrast. And people can see that there's not much contrast, so they'll fix the contrast, but they forget to add saturation. And then they try to add saturation with their preset, and that's when you start going way too heavy-handed with your preset or your LUT. Or sometimes people, especially people filming on Sonys, I see a lot of Sony users do this. They put on the preset and it's just not saturated enough. The colors aren't vibrant enough and the people kind of look like zombies instead of Oompa Loompas, which is not good either. You don't want the people in your videos to look like they're dead. That's not a good look. You need to add saturation. And you don't want to go obviously too far with this, but you do need to add quite a bit. And this is a little bit of a pro tip here. When you export and upload to YouTube or Vimeo or wherever you're uploading, you end up losing a little bit of saturation in that process. So you need to add more saturation to compensate for that saturation that you're gonna lose in the process of exporting and uploading. So almost always when you look at my edit, the footage on the computer in the timeline, it looks too saturated. It looks like I need to take that saturation down a little bit, but then once I export and upload it, it goes to a nice normal level where the colors are vibrant but not overly crazy vibrant either. So saturation is just one of those things that I think people forget about. We all remember contrast because that's really obvious, but you don't necessarily think about colors because they're a little bit more abstract, and saturation just, it brings out all those natural colors, those natural tones. And with color grading, less is always more. The more subtle your look is, the better. When I'm using a LUT or a preset, a lot of times I'm only using it at like 20 to 40% power level. So I'm bringing it way, way down. And just that little tweak makes a really big difference. But if you don't have enough saturation and contrast to begin with, then that little tweak of 20 to 40% of your LUT is not gonna look that great. So please, take my advice, learn from my mistakes, don't go overboard with your LUTs. Just use saturation beforehand so you don't have those awkward moments where you look like you've had 10 layers of spray tan. Yeah, That's not a good look. Less is more. Keep it natural. Keep it simple. That's what I've learned over the last couple months, or relearned. You keep relearning things all the time. You've never learned enough.
If you're curious how I did that intro sequence, it's just aperture 300D with this little barn doors to make it more like directional, like a beam of light. And then I just switched on this aperture 120D with the light dome. And then I was just using, where to go? This little guy, the micro fogger.
It actually works pretty well. It's not bad. I mean, this is a massive room, so it's not gonna do too well in here. But if you just need it for some like product photography or video stuff, or you have a smaller room that you need to haze up a little bit, it's worth checking out the micro fogger too.
Also, best part about aperture lights is this remote. Boom, boom.
So I was actually able to just turn on the light mid-shot for that little intro. I hope you guys liked the extra effort. Was anybody thrown off by the fact that I'm wearing a colorful shirt? Not my usual black or white or gray? Yeah, that's about all I wear normally. Branching out. Well, that was a very unexpected sunset. It's been cloudy all day, kind of gloomy. Was not expecting that, but a great way to end the day. I love it when things just turn around.